Russian manicure and gel overlay in this video coming up. Hello guys, Anastasia here. Today we need to transform this nail. This was my client, but she haven't been doing any manicure or overlays during the quarantine, so it is time to do something new. Some nails are broken, some of them are very short, so we decided to file them all short to have a square shape and then do a one-color overlay. But let's get started with the manicure. First, I will be pushing back the cuticle with a pusher. This step seems to be very easy, but you need to be careful because this area is the most sensitive and vulnerable part of the natural nail plate, so do not press too hard, just gently push it back. Then I will use 220 grit single-use wooden file to file and shape the nails. And by the way, as you can see, this dark spot on the nail is nothing but a leftover of the old base. And since most base coats are porous, it simply absorbed some things from the outside world, but once we file it off, it will be not a problem. And by the way, 220 was not enough here. Even though these nails may look a bit brittle or thin, they are not. They're very thick. This file was definitely not enough, so I switched to 180 grit, and now I will simply file off this old product. As you can see, it is already on the free edge, so it's actually naturally outgrown fully. As I filed off the old base, we can see that this discoloration was simply in the product, and the nail underneath is a good, healthy, strong nail. Now we need to file and shape all nails. Even if your client wants a square shape on the natural nails, I recommend rounding the corners at least a little bit. Because we can do a sharp corners on extensions, it's not a problem, some people might like it. But on natural nails, if you will do that, then almost 100% you will see product peeling from the corners. So round them up at least a little bit. After filing length and shape, do not forget to clean this residue under the nail. Because if you won't and then you will apply the product, then this area will more likely to peel. By the way, this old product is not lifting, but it definitely changed its color, so we need to get rid of it. Next step will be manicure, and I will be starting with the flame diamond bead with the rand band. Speed is currently 14,000 rotations per minute, and I'm working on the forward mode. There are different kinds of flame beads. Some of them are more narrow, while some of them are wider. So it is better to have a different kinds so you can customize and choose them according to the type of the nails. This one is pretty wide, the size is 0.23, and it's perfectly suitable for this client as she has a pretty deep grooves. But some people do not have it, so in this case it is better to choose a smaller option. Even though this bead is truly very soft, it is still possible to damage the natural nail as well as the skin. So be careful, never press onto the nail, and if you're not sure, check out my video about the typical mistakes in Russian electric file manicure. I will leave the link down below. Or if you would like to get an online hands-on training, you can also check out my online course Electric Nail File Manicure. The link will be below as well.
First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Oh, ooh, the way that things have been. Oh, ooh. Second thing second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sea, I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh,
after that, I switch to the reverse mode and work on the opposite side on all 10 nails. And also I push up the cuticle so it will be easier to trim it. Then I'm buffing the surface because we need to take off the surface shine. And I prefer doing this at this point because we could do that at the beginning, but now when we have a cuticles pushed up, we can do it on the entire surface. Then we need to trim the cuticles, and there are a few options to do that. We can use drill bits, we can use nippers, or we can use scissors, and this is recently my favorite method because it's pretty easy and fast as long as you have a really good quality scissors, because if the ones you will be using are dull, trust me, you will hate the result. So it's important to have a very sharp, high quality scissors. Previous preparation matters as well. As you can see, I cleaned all the skin under the cuticle and pushed it up, so now we can clearly see this white line, and that's why it is so easy to trim it and to not touch the living tissue. I get so many questions about it, like how do you manage to cut it without cutting the client? Well, it's all about the previous steps. Trimming this part, trust me, it's not hard at all, but the previous step, you need to do it thoroughly. So you will push up only the dead tissue on top, so now it's visible and pretty easy to remove. For some skin types, additional buffing is required. So let's say we have some little hangnails or leftovers, and we can buff the cuticle around. But do not be fooled by this step. It's not like we trim the cuticles really bad and now we're going to fix that with the drill bit. Depending on the skin type, usually this area becomes a bit sensitive after you trim it, so buffing it on top may not be the best idea. That's why I'm using a very soft abrasive. I'm also using a very low speed. It's 12,000 rotations per minute and a super light touch, so the client will not really feel anything. It is not the replacement of the trimming part, but it can be definitely helpful. This is what we have now. On one hand we have square nail, so I will apply dehydrator and non-acid primer. But on the opposite hand, unfortunately, the one nail is so short that even the corner is missing. So now let's create it. I will apply a base coat and the fiberglass only on this area. So this is how we are going to add it. There are many different ways to do that. You can also use polygel, you can use thick consistency hard gel, or even acrylic. But if you want to do an overlay with a gel polish, then fiberglass or silk might be helpful too. So I'm filling the area only where this corner is missing and then cure it in LED for 30 seconds. After that, I apply more base coat on top and cure it again, 30 seconds in LED. Then I'm going to cut it. You can also file it, but it's gonna take a while, so it's better to use an old nippers. Also, I will take off the sticky layer, so now we can file and shape the nail. Well, basically we only need to reshape this part so it will look exactly like the part of the natural nail. I'm using this method for a long time now and it's really working great for me and my clients. After that, I will clean the dust, and now no one can tell that this part is not natural. Now let's get back to the application, and I will be applying a base coat. These nails are pretty curved. I mean, they have a very deep natural C-curve, and usually on these nails, whenever you apply, it will look really massive or thick. So this time we are going to try to avoid that. And the first step to achieve that is applying a super thin coat of the base coat. Normally I apply it a bit thicker, but not this time because I really do not want to overload these nails. Cure in LED for 30 seconds and then we are going to apply the color. Ideally, we need to find the color that will be really intense just in one coat. So we will save the time on applying additional layers, and also it will be intense from the beginning. But unfortunately this blue is not that intense, so I still have to apply 2 coats. It's Whimsical by Canadian brand Luxio or Luxio, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So now let's add a little bit of simple nail art. I'm applying a regular base on the color, which is cured already, and then a white gel polish mixed with the base coat. So now it's like semi-transparent white. And I cannot really tell you what I was intending to do. Clouds, abstract, or just simple spots like you see on the jeans, but I don't know, we just decided to do that. Now let's do it on another nail. Apply the base coat, do not cure. While it is still wet, apply these white spots. White should be pre-mixed with the same base coat so it will not be as bright. But if you wish to have brighter white colors, you can also use white without mixing it with clear. Now let's do this on this nail. So as I was doing this in real life, you can really see something like clouds, but in camera it's really pale, like you cannot really see anything. Oh well. Last step will be sealing with the top coat, and I will carefully apply a bit more to create the structure, but I will try to do my best to make it as thin as possible, because like I said, I really do not want to overload this nail. Especially light and pastel colors, they add weight to the nails anyways. Cure the top coat for 30 seconds in LED, and this is the final result. Let me guys know what do you think of this transformation and which tools do you use to trim the cuticles. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here on my channel, consider subscribing, as I post new tutorials and nail transformations just like this one every week. And I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!
Sun is about to go down, so what you doing tonight?